Let's go. No friends.
Yeah.
No friends.
Yeah, General Street Bank. I'm here with the one and only
Gangsta Lou.
the legendary, iconic.
That's right. Let's get it.
The mythical street figure. Gangsta Lou.
Got our own fucking podcast now.
Yeah, the Gangsta Lou Chronicles. So
right, Gangsta
Lou, you
Lou
buzzing
Chronicles.
out here. You buzzing out here, big homie. Like the Beat 103.9. Flip the Script podcast,
Right.
Info Minds, people want to know. You know what I'm saying? You part of a legendary crew, a legendary era, coming from that crack era with AZ, you know, Rich Porter, Fritz. You know what I'm saying? Old Harlem.
Official Harlem.
Official Harlem. People want to know.
People who made Harlem what it is today.
Yeah. So today we want to talk about your origin. You know what I'm saying? You got a chance to bless them podcasts, but you up to like millions of views where people want to know because it's important that we millions.
Sure?
Absolutely.
I didn't check.
You know, I fact check, you know what I'm saying? Because what's important is, you know what I mean, urban content, you know, it's very rare that you have people that live to tell it. They come through them different eras, but they actually still here today that can talk about it from a first-hand perspective. This is non-fiction, you understand? So we wanted to just touch base today and just start with the origin of where you come from. We know you represent Sugar Hill. You know what I'm saying? We know you 145 all day, 146 all day, St. Nick and Convent. Anybody in Harlem know that, but
my new home 144.
Yeah.
7th and 8th. That's right.
Yeah, but we want to take them back to Boogaloo. Not too many people talk about Boogaloo.
Boogaloo was worse than Gangsta Lou.
Yeah. So we're gonna touch on all that, but it's important that you control your narrative and tell your story. So we're gonna take them from the crack era, mob style, no friends. We're gonna talk about the money, the millions, the vehicles, the girls, everything that you saw firsthand, so you could connect directly with your audience. You understand? You know what I'm saying? So how you get the name Boogaloo and all that? Like, what was, you know, what's the origin of all that?
Well, Boogaloo. My parents used to always throw family reunions in Brooklyn. Who you think used to be the baddest dancer? Me. So that's how I got the name Boogaloo.
Right.
I'd tear the floor up when I was a kid. I got pictures of me in Brooklyn, dancing my ass off.
Yeah. So you got a
pictures.
connection from Brooklyn. You from Harlem, but you got a connection with Brooklyn from way back too.
Originally, my whole family. And then they moved. My mom's moved to Harlem, you know, and then had me and my sister. So that's how I become a Harlem nigga. But
Right.
for the most part, my grandmother house still out there. All my relatives, most of them anyway. I got more relatives out there than I do in Harlem.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nah, that's a fact. So I know when we talked off camera, you was telling me about how you started on Riverside first, and then you kind of migrated down the hill. So just for the audience, everybody know, we want to be clear. It's not one legendary crew. You had A and Rich, you had Lynch Mob, you had Fritz, you had the great Eric Von Zip. You had a lot of people out here, you know, getting money and everything, but you part of a legendary crew. How did you, you know, initially connect with Rich and A, you know?
Well, it didn't really start off at Riverside. It started off on Broadway in Hamilton first.
Right.
138th Street. I always been around the Spanish kids growing up.
Right.
A lot of black kids couldn't be around the Spanish kids, couldn't go to Spanish schools and shit like that. That's why I'm kind of fluid with that Spanish. I kind of like picked up that shit. Just
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, from there, we moved to Riverside. And I guess when I turned probably like, well, I started really venturing at 9, 10 years old from Riverside, but I learned that from being with my brothers.
Right.
Because, you know, my moms had me and my sister. My brothers, my 2 brothers and my older sister, their father raised them in Brooklyn.
Right.
Well, it's so ill because my mom's last name, you know what I mean?
Right.
Happened to be the same last name as her husband, who lived down the block from her in Brooklyn. So, you feel where I'm...
She didn't even have to change it.
She didn't even have to change her name.
Right.
So, I used to always hear I had brothers and sisters, but I never saw them.
Right.
Until, I guess, the day They father, you know, I don't know how to really verbally put it because I was a kid, I wasn't there.
Right.
But however it happened, my mom's got custody of them.
Right.
And they came and lived with me and my sister and taught me a lot of shit. She used to take me back and forth to Brooklyn.
Right.
You know, show me Brooklyn shit. I didn't know the difference between Brooklyn and Harlem. I was too young.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think it's crazy because like these kids don't know now with the internet and everything is so connected. But back then, like going to Brooklyn was like another world. Like, you know what I'm saying? People from different cities, unless you was getting money and able to move around, that was like going to a different.
Going to Brooklyn, when I was a kid, you had to get off a train and get on another train.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? There was no directly straight to Brooklyn. Not that I could recall anyway, unless my brothers was just doing that shit to play games with me like they used to. I know y'all be tripping on me about this gum, but I don't do no interviews, no talking, no nothing without gum. Like, it's just part of who I be. So I would ask y'all to forgive me for the gum, but yeah.
Nah, this your thing. This the Gangsta Lou Chronicles, so it's your way, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Gangsta Lou. Y'all chilling with the No Friends podcast. You know what I mean? First song by my nigga Ted 845. You know what I mean? Demon. You hear me? Yeah, Demon. No Friends.
Bitch, I'm a demon, they ain't over till we even. When I catch him, I'ma leak him. Bitch, I'm a demon. When we catch him, we gon' steam him. We gon' do him like the cleaners. Bitch, I'm a demon, Shit. They said I'm a demon, Shit. Bitch, I'm a demon. They ain't over till we even. When I catch him, I'ma leak him. Bitch, I'm a demon. We gon' catch him, we gon' steam him. We gon' do him like the cleaners. Bitch, I'm a demon, Shit. They said I'm a demon, Shit. A lot of niggas just be running their mouth. That ain't really what my team is about. You could be treating a nigga like fam when you turning your back and be staking you out. But fuck it, I'ma keep stepping. Road dolly, big weapon, bow. I've been feeling next level. I've been thinking like a devil. These niggas in trouble. Me and D Gotti like soap in some morning. When we get together, all we do is bubble. Put on the gas, popping your bitch on the ass. They ain't think that I would last. They like Teddy, he don't come through the hood. I just been fucking and chasing his cash. On a mission to the money, rain, see the snow. Nigga, I'ma give me a bag. Cause bitch, I'm a demon. It ain't over till we even. When I catch him, I'ma leak him. Said I'm a demon. We gon' catch him, we gon' steam him. We gon' do him like the cleaners. Said I'm a demon, Said I'm a demon, Bitch, I'm a demon, Said I'm a demon. It ain't over till we even. When I catch him, I'ma leak him. Said I'm a demon. When we catch him, we gon' steam him. We gon' do him like the cleaners. Said I'm a demon, Said I'm a demon, A lot of niggas just be running their mouth. That ain't really what my team is about. Taking them pics and posting them felonies. Do it for fame, they do it for clout. So I'm in the fed, waiting on Davis, so hopefully soon to be letting them out. Free my dogs that ain't beat it at trap. I'ma keep shitting on niggas for now. Smoking on gas, riding around, silence a Mac, don't make a sound. Nigga, I kick it, ain't nobody in my town gonna do how I'm doing it now. Said I'm a demon, it ain't over till we even. When I catch him, I'ma leak him. Said I'm a demon, we gon' catch him, we gon' steam him. We gon' do him like the cleaners. Said I'm a demon, They said I'm a demon, Said I'm a demon, it ain't over till we even. When I catch him, I'ma leak him. Said I'm a demon, when we catch him, we gon' steam him. We gon' do him like the cleaners. Said I'm a demon, Said I'm a demon,
But take them back, Lou. So basically, you said the history starts on Broadway. You up there with the Spanish kids. You able to pick up on Spanish. You moving around. You moving to Brooklyn and everything. So you getting around the boroughs. So how did you migrate and get down to Convent St. Nick on this side? What was that journey like?
Okay, it was a restaurant called 721 on the corner of 146 and St. Nick. It was an Italian restaurant.
Right.
The only Italian restaurant. But back then, there was a lot of restaurants and bars on St. Nick. You had the Blue Book, you had the Mark 5,
right.
You had Triggers, you had After Hours spots.
Right,
you know what I mean? You had a lot of shit on St. Nick. That's why it's originally Sugar Hill.
Right.
So, make a long story short, the Italian restaurant was a restaurant that my mother used to like to eat from.
Mm-hmm.
Being out of the baby boy, I'm the one who used to always have to walk from Riverside all the way to St. Nick to get her food. And once I got to St. Nick, it was like a whole nother world, because there was young niggas out there with money in their hands, pocketfuls of money, girls everywhere, cars everywhere, niggas talking shit.
Right.
Sitting in the restaurant, counting money, selling drugs. So I watched this shit for about 2-3 years, going back and forth to the restaurant. I kind of already knew that was going to be my block one day.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. So so paint the scene. So what year is this? We talking about when you first started coming down?
80.
So 1980. So that's fitting. We got that on the side of the baseball cap, because that seemed like a...
Yeah, that's 90, right? Or we 80. We 80? Okay, well, we got to get the 90s too, because the 90s was a good year too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna get to that too. So 1980s, just to get a flavor of the streets, talk about the landscape of the streets. So you had the old timers that made millions off the dope game. You understand, with that heroin and everything like that. A lot of them went up north, went to the feds, people got killed. So you kind of part of that baby era of the young teenagers that started getting money and touching paper. So you start coming down the hill for 2 to 3 years, you just observing. You seeing people getting money, the girls, the cars, people outside doing their thing. And you said in your mind, it's gonna be my block one day.
Right. And then my mom's had an after-hour spot on 145th between 7th and 8th.
Right.
And I used to have to go down there and clean that shit up.
Right.
But that shit was big as hell. And I'm a little kid, so I used to be in there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours by myself in that bitch cleaning up. And all the kids and shit who lived down there, they started getting familiar with me. I started getting familiar with them, and they had already knew my mom's, because my mom's had the spot right there.
Right.
So,
which we gonna get to that, because that's another legendary block and avenue, because the jukebox was there.
Right.
Later on. So you kind of navigating and putting together your landscaping and everything like that. So
sometimes you're gonna have to do that, because if I start talking, I just go as I remember it. You understand what I'm saying?
That's what we want though, because we want to actually bring the audience there, because everybody ain't had the benefit of being in New York City in 1980 or 1990, 91. It's different, you know. In the movies is one thing, paid in full, you know, all these films is one thing, but actually being there, that was a different thing. So it's 1980. You cleaning up the after-hour spot for my dudes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're moving around Broadway, Riverside. You're coming down to St. Nick. The after-hour spots, the clubs, the lounges is jumping off. And we know origin, he was in the cleaners on 145 in Amsterdam, if I'm correct.
No, 145 in St. Nick.
On St. Nick, okay.
Yeah, the cleanest was right there on the block.
Right. So what was that like? When you recall the first day you met A, like as you coming migrating down the hill?
The first day I met A, the very first, well, I used to see him come in and out the building, because I used to work out the building.
Right.
Which he lived in, his mother. But he wasn't, he wasn't rocking.
Right.
He wasn't doing anything, like, you know what I mean? Like that, you know what I mean? I didn't acknowledge A until I had my first, I would say, I don't want to say beef, but I would say a misunderstanding,
right.
I guess.
Right.
I was doing wrong any old way, you know what I mean? He had some shit he was getting off, you know what I mean? But he had a nice clientele.
Right.
The people I was working for, their clientele was slow. So people start coming in here asking for his shit. I start telling people that the shit I had was his shit, just to get it off. And one day, I didn't know he was the person who had the shit that people was coming in here asking for. He came in and asked me if I had the shit.
Right.
And I said, yeah. The nigga grabbed me by the jacket, slammed me up against the wall and shit by my throat.
Right.
Told me he Junior, because that was the name,
Right.
That was his name, so people
was
coming
Junior.
in. You got,
before AZ.
Yeah, you got Junior's thing.
Right.
Yeah, I got Junior's thing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, he threatened me, you know what I mean? Told me he was gonna do this, that, and the third. Then I wound up seeing him like a week or two later. He came in the building. I thought we was gonna fight this day, because he, wound up calling me over as he was leaving.
Right.
And put some work in my hand. At first, he asked me how much niggas was paying me and shit like that. I really didn't want to speak the business and shit because I knew better.
Right.
But it just felt funny that me and him was just kind of like going at it just a couple of weeks ago, and now you want to know how much people paying me. Why are you concerned? Like, why do you care? Like, so I wound up telling him, and he like, what? That's all you get? You be out here rain, speed, of snow. Actually, it was raining that night. He said that, pouring and raining.
Right.
And I'm out there by myself all the time. You know what I'm saying? I've never had nobody to be out with me. I always did everything by myself.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So you out rain, sleet, and snow. So now A rocking. A getting some paper. He see your determination, your ambition. You out there, rain, sleet, snow. Where the fuck is the money at? Up and down the block.
And I'm manipulating people to believe that the shit I got so you know I got some type of sense.
Right. You said I'm gonna get the work off. So you doing all that, and he come to you basically and made an offer for you to get down with his crew.
Right. He didn't make me no offer. He put the shit in my hand and told me to keep it. That I was down once he did that. I knew I was down.
Right.
He paid me in one day what niggas would have paid me in like a month. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I knew right then and there I was on the right train. I was just riding on the wrong track at once upon a time. But yeah, I figured it out. So
you told the other people like I'm out? Or was it like a couple weeks? Or
I couldn't tell them that, that, you know what I mean? Because I was a kid, these people was old enough to be my father, you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had to do it in a respectful type of way, you know, but, you know, I really truly think they let me go because they knew after all the shit I was doing for them because, man, let me tell you something, man. Rikers Island raised me from that building.
Right.
That building caused me to go to Rikers Island about 100 times.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? From a kid all the way to an adult.
Right.
Because mind you, when I met him, it was in the 80s. So I went to jail through the whole 80s. Went upstate, going into the 90s.
Right.
Still was going back and forth to jail for him.
Right.
All the way to the 2000s, damn near, man. All the way to 9, 7, 9, 8, 9, 9.
Right.
That's like 17 years, 16 years.
Yeah.
Listening to a nigga, you know what I'm saying?
So you basically, your position was, this my block, this my building, this my crew.
No. That was not my attitude. I didn't even know how to have an attitude like that.
Right.
I was too young. I was naive, man. It was like, you know that definition, niggas be like, keeping it real?
Right.
I was super keeping it real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know if a nigga went to jail for having a nigga shit. A nigga was supposed to bail a nigga out. I thought the nigga who got caught with the shit was supposed to stay in jail.
Wow.
That was me.
Wow.
I didn't learn that until one day I was walking down the hall on the island and some Brooklyn niggas was like, yo man, that's Blase Blau for AZ and them.
Right.
Niggas was like, man, that ain't him. Brooklyn niggas like, man, that's him, yo, my nigga.
Right.
Ain't you Blau? I said, yeah. Brooklyn nigga said, man, that nigga been here 5 months, my nigga. And his bail is only like $1,000 or some shit like that. Why the fuck? But I didn't know nothing about bail.
Right.
You know, 10%. I'm riding. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And when I get out, niggas load my pockets up again, and I'm out there again. To the point where police knew when they ran up on me, it was a guarantee.
Right.
I had something.
Right.
Because I always had it in my pocket. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man.
Yeah, so we gonna get into that, and we're gonna go down. We're gonna speak about Rikers Island, but just take them back to the landscape for a minute. So, of course, that's Junior first. It's not AZ yet. So he getting money. He put something in your hand. You eventually got down with his crew. So talk about like the time frame before he really blew up, and who else was out here? Because a lot of people, they don't know Wild Al, Kato, you know, other names. People don't talk about LA.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, see, you talking. So that's down the hill.
Yeah. So
I'm glad you brought his name up.
Yeah. So like, talk about who else. Like, what's the landscape like in 80, 81 as you transition on to Junior crew who became AZ? Yo, what's happening? This is General Gangsta Chronicles, the No Friends podcast. Y'all gonna like this one right here. Let's get into this next joint.
Let me get one. Let me get one. Thank you.
Let me see y'all. Y'all just come out tomorrow, alright? What's up, man?
What's up?
Where you going?
School.
You alright?
I guess we are.
What's going on, blood?
What's happening, brothers? What's happening? What's happening, brothers? What's happening?
I got something to say to the homeboys from around the way. What's going on? What's going wrong? Knocking each other off, word is wrong. Stop the violence, must live in peace and silence. I come to solve the problem. What you talking about, 132 Harlem. Touching for crack, 12-year-old kid kidnapped. What's going on, blood?
I don't know for sure, but Rich ain't go out like that.
Yeah, cause he was too clever. He kept the 9 the vest underneath the leather. It had to be someone he know. Yo, you don't know for sure. It could have been Larry, Curly, and Mo. Forget that. It had to be someone he trusts. Cause I know for sure my man Rich was bust off the toast. He was known from coast to coast to get paid. From way back in the days, he was a good guy. He always stayed fly. Whoever in the world think little Rich would die. But it's over. Time to get sober. But it may take a while. 2 weeks later, I found I lost another pile. Stan, my man, yo, I don't understand.
Word, amen, goddamn.
Got taken out in the same block I'm talking about. Nobody even heard him yell, scream or shout. Hey, chill, man. Leave that for the cops to figure out. But it's cold. 2 funerals in a row. Not trying to save my man Stan. Wasn't bold, but he was the type of brother that wouldn't hurt a soul. They found Rich, it ought to be. They found a little brother matter 2 to 3 weeks. It's getting real deep, I can't even sleep. It seemed like a nightmare, the whole family in fear. They shed so many tears. All I wanna ask you, do anybody care? Do anybody care? In 87, there was a tragedy. Something like this almost happened to me. But I'm alive, and 2 others survived. But God bless the 3 that died. Myra, Joanne, and Charlie C. Why you had to take them, why you couldn't take me? Bloodbath in 87, I knew I was dead. I felt myself going to heaven, but I learned from my mistakes. Next time I die, God opened up the gates and let me in, so I could be at peace with my friends.